I would like to extend a warm welcome to all members of the Cabinet, other members of the Council, members of the public and officers in attendance at today's Cabinet meeting of the 4th of September 2025. Welcome to members of the public and press who may be watching the meeting live on YouTube. I am Councillor Jill Cleary, Leader of the Council and Chairman of the Cabinet. I would like now to hand over to Democratic Services to read the housekeeping note.
Please note this meeting is being broadcast live on the Council's website and on YouTube. It will remain available for a minimum of 12 months. Please can those in attendance use your microphone when speaking and to turn it off when you've finished. Please switch any mobile devices to a silent setting for the duration of the meeting. If the fire alarm rings, please can everyone leave the room immediately using the nearest fire exit. Please go to the fire assembly point located at the bottom of the car park by the garages.
Thank you. Please would members introduce themselves during the meeting if not already introduced by name. Apologies, I have none received from any Cabinet members. Item 1, Leaders' Announcements. As members will know, today marks the publication of The Case for Change, the joint work of the 12 Hampshire councils to develop the future of local government across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. This has been a significant piece of work, and I want to thank colleagues for the way we have come together to produce it. The Case for Change draws not only on evidence about how local government could be organised differently, but also on engagement with residents and partners to ensure that community views are properly reflected. As a council, we continue to make the case for an outcome that works for our residents, our communities, and the unique character of the New Forest. Our proposal, option 1, just to remind you, which we have developed with Test Valley, is outlined in full in the appendix to the main case. We will be considering the Case for Change through our own panel and council discussions over the coming weeks. It is important to remember that while this council has a strong voice in the process, the ultimate decision about whether and how local government reorganisation will go ahead rests with the government, not with the New Forest District Council. Our focus is in ensuring we represent our residents well and that any proposals taken forward are ones that we can support. Thank you. Item 2, Minutes. Do Cabinet members agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of August 2025 as a correct record?
Agreed.
Item 3, Declarations of Interest. Do Cabinet members have any declarations of any pecuniary or any other interest in respect of the business for this meeting?
Chairman, if I could, I reiterate the fact that I was a practising comma for the 6th item on this agenda, that obviously the official verderer is my brother and that I am a member of the forest group that's also campaigning on the bins. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, Public Participation, none. Item 5, Financial Monitoring Report based on performance April to June 2025 inclusive. I'd like to take us to the portfolio holder, Councillor Jeremy Heron.
Thank you, Chairman. Please present the first financial monitoring report of the current year. The main purpose is to reflect on the rephasing from the previous years, of which we have 896,000 from the General Fund, 1.931 million from the Capital Programme and 60,000 from the Housing Revenue Account. The other substantive variation being reported relates to the refuse and recycling service, and this includes the Council's full utilisation of the additional DEFRA grant of £151,000 to support the rollout of the new service, and, notably, an additional £150,000 agreed by the Section 151 officer to allow the service to start planning and immediate commencement of the trial of food caddies being collected from behind the gates in the areas where forest stock are free roaming. I endorse the recommendation within the report, including the allocation of the additional funds towards the waste service as covered within this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I go to our Assistant Director of Finance, Paul Whittles? Paul, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chair. Just one further item to add, and that's just for members to note the additional point regarding the pay award, which has been agreed at 3.2% in the paper. Thank you.
Okay, I will ask Cabinet, do you have any further comments to make?
None from me.
None? Thank you. Let's open this to the wider floor. Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question really about the behind the gates trial expenditure and the others. Why is this unbudgeted? Why was this not planned for originally? Because obviously it's a bit like closing the door after the animal's bolted, isn't it? Because we are in the middle of phase 1. It's gone through the middle of phase 1 and there's an issue raised. Why was this not planned in advance?
Chairman, this council is somewhat of a unicorn in the fact that we actually have reserves in which we can draw on when delivering our services. The rollout was always going to be difficult. When you look at the number of times we visit properties, we did 10.5 million property visits. Small service. I have indeed got it on. If it's not picking me up, I apologise, Chairman. So that is no small service. There was undoubtedly going to be changes, adaptations, and things like that. We have identified a problem. We have allocated the resources to resolve that issue. And we, unlike the people who last time proposed that we spend every reserve that we ever had, can afford to make those adaptations. So that is why it's being allocated, because there has been a change in the way the programme is being rolled out. I suspect it will be there will be more, possibly, as we go through this major refit of our service, and we will be able to afford those changes.
Thank you. Councillor Jack Davis.
Thank you. To go back on something Councillor Heron has said, in terms of the unplanned expenditure, if the audit had have been up to scratch, then I think it probably would have been planned expenditure. And obviously I have requested the audit. I haven't received it yet. I look forward to receiving it, because I think once we have a look at that, we can actually figure out why it is that this expenditure that perhaps should have been done at the start hasn't been done. So I think Councillor Wade's point is actually a very strong one, and I would hopefully like to see going forward a more proactive response.
Chairman, I am astonished at the clarity of the 2020 hindsight that the opposition are experiencing at this moment. They came to every scrutiny panel, they went through every debate on this, and not once did they bring up these issues, not once did they mention them, and yet with an unbelievable clarity of hindsight, they are now drawing my attention to it. It would have been so much more helpful if they had done this 5 years ago when we started this waste programme, 4 years ago when we started this waste programme, not 3 months into it. But there we go. We can't have everything we want in life.
Thank you. Can I now... Oh, sorry, Councillor Dowd.
Sorry, I was going to bring this up a little bit later, but I'll do it now. Can I remind the portfolio holder that these comments were raised on the 14th of February 2020, the 24th of August
Which comments,
2020,
please?
the 4th of December 2020,
What comments,
the
please?
20th of September 2021, the 16th of November 2021. On the 4th of December, we had sight of residents' comments from the survey that was done. One of the top 3 issues that residents raised was accessibility, was issues with livestock in the forest, and with, well, I'll leave that for now, but a number of the issues, these were all discussed way back in 2020.
Councillor Dowd, I don't think this is an actual question. You're trying to make a political statement here.
I'm simply correcting the portfolio holder, who's saying we didn't comment on this.
That's not the purpose of a cabinet meeting. Jeremy, would you like to respond?
There's no need to respond. This is a financial paper, Chairman. And I think we've covered the financial issues that have been raised by this and demonstrated that we have adequate finance resources to meet the challenges that we are expected to.
Thank you. Can I now take Cabinet to the recommendations on pages 3 to 14? Do Cabinet agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 6. Review of New Waste Collection Service Phase 1. Rollout and motion to suspend Phases 2 and 3. As members will be aware, this item follows the extraordinary council meeting held on the 28th of August 2025. In accordance with section 100B brackets 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, I have agreed to include this item on the agenda as a matter of urgency. The urgency arises from the need for Cabinet to consider the motion referred by Council relating to the rollout of the Council's new waste and recycling service and to make recommendations back to Council in view of the financial implications. The urgency is due to the upcoming Phase 2 rollout and the need to conclude the matters raised by the motion at the Council's next ordinary meeting on the 15th of September 2025. I would now like to take you to the portfolio holder, Councillor Jeff Blunden.
Thank you, Leader. I'm pleased to present this report to Cabinet, which provides an update on the implementation of the Council's new waste and recycling collection service. This transition is one of the most significant operational changes the Forest has seen for decades. It is ambitious, complex and essential not only to meet the statutory obligations under the Environmental Act of 2021, but to deliver a modern, resilient and sustainable waste service for our communities. I want to again acknowledge the disruption that some residents have experienced during Phase 1 rollout. At the Extraordinary Council meeting, I offered a sincere apology on behalf of the Cabinet and Council to those affected by this service disruption. We fully understand the frustration and inconvenience that this has caused in some areas, and we continue to resolve these issues swiftly and effectively as possible. At the same time, we must not overlook the significant advantages of the new service or the progress already made. Miscollections are reducing and our crews are adapting quickly. These early signs of success are a direct result of the extraordinary effort across the organisation, from frontline staff to support teams, contractors and officers. The report outlines the lessons learned from Phase 1, the actions taken to improve the service performance and the implications for the continued rollout. It also reflects the concern raised by members at the Extraordinary Council meeting last week and the constructive feedback received from residents and partners. I commend this report to the Cabinet and ask you for your support in endorsing the revised approach to implementation so that we can continue to deliver a service that meets the expectations of our residents and also reflects the values of this Council. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to take us now to Strategic Director, Place Operations and Sustainability, James Carpenter. James, do you have anything further you wish?
Thank you, Chair. A clear introduction from the Cabinet Member to the report. Hopefully the report is helpful for your consideration today in setting out a series of recommendations. Those recommendations, of course, being linked to the extraordinary council meeting and a summary of those comments being contained for you at Appendix 4. Cabinet will note various proposed changes in response to the lessons being learnt from Phase 1, most notably the response to the concerns over the pannage period. And obviously the previous report you've considered has set aside £150,000 to support with that initial first phase trial of making that resolved as soon as possible, and obviously for the start of pannage on the 15th of September. Clearly, as set out in the report, officers continue to work behind the scenes, really, in terms of how we resolve that on an ongoing basis, and obviously that will come forward in the realm of a fully costed or an attempted costed business case. Necessarily, your Waste Programme Board will continue to retain oversight of that implementation, and we're preparing a Phase 2 plan and obviously an updated risk assessment, and obviously some assurance metrics that will sit within that to enable that Waste Programme Board to retain assurance of the programme. So really, just to summarise the recommendations set out at 1 to 6, necessarily I draw your attention to the conclusions, most notably in terms of, as set out by the Cabinet Member, the scale of the task at hand and the work being undertaken to deliver this for the residents of the New Forest.
Thank you, James. I would now like to go to Councillor Malcolm Wade, who put the motion forward before Cabinet. Malcolm, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to explain your motion.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, I think we can explain the motion in 3 areas. As a New Forest District Councillor, myself, and every member of this council, every member in the chamber now, every member in the chamber, every council meeting, has a responsibility to deliver for the residents of the New Forest, regardless of where, a fit-for-purpose service. That is our reason d'etre across the board. We had residents at the council meeting who clearly did not think we had delivered a fit-for-purpose service to them. There are over 900 emails waiting to be answered in customer service. People who don't think we delivered a fit-for-purpose service to them. We have people on the phone for over an hour trying to explain their concerns, who clearly don't think we delivered a fit-for-purpose service to them. Chairman, my area is in Phase 3, but I have that responsibility for all of the council, as every member here does, the Cabinet, all the members. In addition, I don't want any other residents of the New Forest to go through similar problems. I understand this council is reacting to the issue. I get that. But clearly, the fact that we've had unbudgeted expenditure and we've had a whole plethora of issues since the start of Phase 1, part of this process has not been planned properly. Or we wouldn't have these problems, would we? We wouldn't have the problems. As my colleague, Councillor Dowd, has said, animals, waste, and the interaction between the two was discussed many times in the original Task and Finish group looking at this. We looked at best practice, comms, across the board. But I won't go through the issues that I raised in the extraordinary council meeting because I don't point repeating it. That we all know a plethora of issues where things have gone wrong. So what do we do? If this was another environment, not here, if it was in business, I've had experience, I don't know how many of you have, I've had experience of managing projects and managing project managers. When something goes wrong, you pause, take stock, cause and effect. What's the cause of this? What's the effect? How do we deal with it? You put in actions to resolve it. We owe that to the people of the New Forest to publish what we're doing to resolve this. We're going to pause just for a little while. We're not changing it, we're not against it. Just pause, put in mitigation actions to solve the issues, prove they work, and then we roll it out. We have plenty of time to do this and still hit the April target for the food waste.
Thank you, Councillor
Last point.
You've
and
gone
this is-
over.
It is your responsibility as the administration. It's your watch when this has happened. It is down to you to fix it. Thank you.
Thank you. Given that the full council had ample opportunity to debate the issue and that it is now before the Cabinet for their consideration, I do not intend to widen the debate and comments outside of the Cabinet. There will, of course, be opportunity for the full council to comment when the matter comes back before them. Having considered the Cabinet, do you wish to make any comments on the report?
I would like to, thank you, and I will restrict my comments to the area for which I'm the portfolio holder for finance. I firmly believe that the suggestion that we pause this would cost this council at least £2.5 million. I acknowledge that there was a shortfall in the capacity of our customer service, but an ICT project would take between 12 and 24 months to implement as a minimum, and so a small pause would not resolve that issue. Any delay in the rollout does not guarantee that the contractors will then be able to work on our revised timetable, running the risk that we could miss the government timescale and again incur significant loss of grant. Sufficient financial resources have been made available to bring forward the behind-the-gate collection ahead of Panage, and so I think we have addressed one of the major issues of this, and I am happy with the recommendations within the paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heron. There's Councillor Jeff Blunden.
Thank you. I believe pausing at this stage does nothing. I'm firmly focused, and so the office is on resolving the problems that we have at the moment. That is the priority. Thank you.
Councillor Steve Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, as I mentioned during the council meeting last week, we have put in place. Phase 1 has been pretty much largely a success. There are some errors that have been made and some areas of the forest in Phase 1 that have not been correctly serviced. Everyone knows that, we accept that. Changes have been put in place to correct that. And I think we need to accept that and move on. Phase 2 and 3 will benefit from what Phase 1 has learnt. Not necessarily pleasantly learnt, but we've learnt. So I think we should just continue as we are and make sure that we monitor and correct any issues as best as we can.
Councillor Derek Tipp.
I completely agree with what's been said. I think we've got to keep calm here. There's absolutely no need to panic. We should have confidence that all issues are being addressed, and there is no scheme of this size and complexity is going to be perfect ever. We will still have some issues to resolve, but I think that it's perfectly right that we should continue with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Having considered the learning, mitigations and improvements noted in the action plan in this report, and the options appraisal identifying that phases 2 and 3 should proceed as planned, I do not consider that it is appropriate to support the motion. I therefore ask that Cabinet recommend to Council to endorse the Cabinet's resolutions this morning as the correct and proportionate response to the motion. Do Cabinet agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Can I therefore take Cabinet to the recommendations on pages 3 and 4 of the report? Cabinet, do you agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. I now wish to declare this meeting closed. Thank you all for your attendance.